When I used to watch George YouTube crypto videos, everybody used to always accuse him of drinking before he would do a video. And I don't could never understand why. Well, bottoms up. Well, how was y'all's weekend? Welcome back to another video. Um, I'm not really drinking, even though I really wanted to do one, but my mouth pushes the border, pushes that line sober. So I cannot drink before I do a video. I've learned that a long time ago. But looking at crypto this weekend, it can probably drive the most sober person to alcohol, if not something more heavy than that. It has been a wild weekend, and depending on which YouTube critic, expert, social media expert, X, Twitch, Twitter, whatever, uh, TikTok person you want to watch, is a different reason. Epstein mentioned Bitcoin and XRP. Seems like some of their beginning money came from something to do with Epstein or something like that. I saw videos on that today. I can't prove it either way, but they got plenty of videos out there if you want to go search that yourself. Um, More manipulation by CEXs and Binance, but yet you have CZ now starting to fight back, saying he's sick of being accused of manipulation, and it ain't him. It's just a bunch of different things. Um, George laid out perfectly in one of his videos that you got gold going down, silver going down. You have sell off with that, sell off with stocks, sell off with crypto. But where's all that money going? They're not going into each other. So it's something kind of mysterious going on. But it doesn't help. You have people out there saying the bull run's over. I don't I don't think the bull run started. Unless I fell asleep. Did the bull run start? Bitcoin had a great improvement, but alts were a snooze fest. So we're going to dig into all that and kind of go over some of these projects. Again, it's going to be a video like it was last week, where I'm not going to sit here and go into deep 5 minutes into each video. I mean, into each project, because this video does not need to be an hour and a half long. There's not a lot going on with a lot of these projects. It's a stale type of environment. And I guess when Bitcoin or crypto as a whole is going down the way it is, it drags some of our enthusiasm down with it. Is anybody excited for any of these projects right now? I asked that question on my live the other day. Nobody could answer that. But that doesn't matter if it's mainnet projects or testnet projects. There's nothing right now that we're getting that excited about. And some of our projects like Wingbits and stuff, we want to see them go TGE. 40 Sky is hinted towards it. Mass Chain says, something's on the horizon. But honestly, if the crypto market is sinking this bad, what do you think is going to happen if that goes TGE? Going TGE for the sake of going TGE, is that really helping anything? I know some of y'all say yes, because y'all just chomping at the bit for Wingbits to go TGE. But if it goes down like this other crypto's going down, y'all going to want to blame Wingbits. But we're going to talk about all that when it gets to Wingbits. So before we go any further, hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm getting some subscribers back, trying to post more videos. Did a video over the weekend about adding SDRs to Wingbits devices in case you want to start running Mass Chain, and trying to pump some stuff out. Still doing lives on Tuesdays and Thursdays night at 7 p.m. Central Time. Come by. And make sure you're in my Discord. We've been talking a lot about this crypto stuff and what these prices have been doing in the Discords. So let's get to it. So don't adjust your sets. I'm so broke right now because of all this crypto stuff. I can't afford a hat. I'm in an old undershirt because that's just that's how it is right now. Is you thought I was poor before, but at least I had a little bit of crypto to hold on to. Now the crypto I'm holding on to is just nothing. It's watching Solana go down like it did, watching VET, watching some of these bigger token bounces go down. Seeing Solana below $100 was unbelievable. I didn't think we would see that again, especially when you had a lot of people talking a lot of people talking because I mean I regurgitate. I'm not gonna sit there now and I'm not gonna be this YouTuber who now says, "Oh, I didn't say that," or whatever. Look, I said it. I'm watching all these different YouTubers, these people who supposedly know way more than me, who actually do TA, technical analysis, saying how Solana, because it had hit 300 so early in this bull run, how it was going to be $600, $700. Look, they had some people saying 800 and 1,000. You didn't hear them numbers come from me, but we were at 90 something dollars the other night. That's yeah, people talking about $200,000 Bitcoin, $150,000 Bitcoin, $175,000 Bitcoin. We were at like 74, 73,000 the other night. So while you can sit here and look at Bitcoin and say, we were at just last Wednesday, not even a week ago, we were at 90,000. And then you come down a couple of days later, 75,000. Now we come up a little bit going sideways, but how long is this going to last? And again, what caused it? Because there's all kinds of things people are saying about what caused it. Now, whether or not you want to say that we were in a bull market or not, or a bull cycle, whatever you want to call it. We were down last year at 74,000. That was in last April. Came up to 125,000. So, we did come up some. So especially when you look at this and you go to, you look at the price range, we were up 70%. Maybe we should have took a hint. You know, nobody really doubts that we were in like a bull run as far as Bitcoin is concerned. We all just kept waiting for the alts. A lot of us, including myself, we bought a lot of alts during our last bear market. I was expecting it. I'm the one that was telling y'all over and over. I was the one that was saying, look, I'm not going to watch my wallet fall 90%. We're going to sell, even if it's not the quite top, we're going to sell when it's up. Well, alts never went up. We have alts right now that are lower than they were in the bear market. You never had an alt rise, altcoins and stuff like that. Never. Let me show you something else that also sticks out. You have all these people saying the cycle's going to be different. The cycle's going to be different. And look, I've argued on both sides. I'm not going to sit in crawfish, as we say. I'm not going backwards in my word. I'm going to say that, look, I said both of them. The cycles are the cycles of the cycles of the cycles. But I also said with this president, everything was off. But in the previous, not the last Bitcoin halving, but the previous Bitcoin halving was May 11th. May 11th, and then 538 days later, right past 538 days later, 545 days later was your high from the previous. Now watch this. Previous Bitcoin halving was 420. Remember the whole 420 thing? Ho, 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 ho. So 420, 545 days later, guess what you had? That's right. You had your all-time high in Bitcoin again. Almost to the day. I don't, you can sit there and say what we want. Now, while this, just follow me on this one. While this doesn't line up exactly, I want to show you something. From May 11th, not really from the lowest price point, because the lowest price point was down here, but from May 11th, when the halving was, to the all-time high was 608%. And if you take the bear market low that we were at to where this high is now, or where our highest all-time high was, the local bear market low, which was around November 2022, we were at 16,000. All-time high, 125,000. We hit 600%, 670%. So maybe we should have saw this. Maybe this all bounces back and we hit all-time high. I don't know. I don't think nobody knows right now. We knew these ETFs were going to put things on its head and change things around. I don't think anybody had this. We thought Trump and then the lowering of interest rates, more proactive crypto laws to help us out, to give us clarity and stuff. We thought crypto would be way better than what it is right now. If anybody can say they saw this coming, they lied. But you know what? There was one person, and y'all owe a lot. Let me go ahead and make my little screen a little bigger so I can be the dad right now and say, y'all owe this man, point like he does, y'all owe this man a freaking apology. And that is my boy, Tech Hustler. Tech Hustler did this video. Alt season already happened. And y'all attacked the living dog shit out of him. Cut that man down. Y'all thought he was losing his mind. He's in there destroying DePin projects and stuff. And guess what? He was right on all of it. He was right on all of it. Y'all owe him an apology. Y'all sat here in my live, and then he even called y'all out because on one of his videos and says, I saw y'all on Grumpy Dad's live talking about me with this, this, and this. But by the time he did this video, alts, it wasn't even an alt season. Look at my hair. I can't believe I'm not wearing a hat. Look, I know I'm taking a little bit extra time on this, but this is, I just feel, is what was a more important video right now than some of these projects. But if you blinked, you missed the alt season, if you'd even call it that. Solana kind of did its own thing, but after that, let's look at a couple of them. So this is one that a lot of people talk about and a lot of y'all ask about. This is ICP. And ICP right now is down 81% since the halving. Down 81% of the halving. In fact, it had a high a month before the halving, and it's down 87% since right before the halving. Now, again, this isn't all-time highs. It was way higher in times before this, but we're talking about like this local cycle. So you look at this, when was the alt season? If you owned it here and you were accumulating before the halving, remember, you had Bitcoin go up to all-time high right here. And if you were buying ICP thinking you were going to do good, you're down 83%, 87%. So here we go with Solana. Now, Solana at the halving, Bitcoin halving was $151. And at one point reached $300, right? And that's when everybody came out and said, Solana's going to $600, $700 this next alt season. $700 easily, maybe 800, maybe 900,000. And where are we at now? We hit $99 over the weekend, $97 over the weekend, depending on what exchange you use. So you've also gone down, and you have lost money compared to where, again, Bitcoin's even right now. Who would have taken? I mean, I guess if you bought like me, and I bought Solana back at $12, but I didn't take profits. Why would I, when everybody and their grandma is telling everybody $500, $600, $700, $800, and I had it all staked, so it's not like I could have sipped profits. Now, this one has got a little bit different story because this is XRP. When we knew all this craziness with the SEC and stuff was going to end, you were at 55, 56 cents, 51 cents, and you jumped up to $2.81. But again, nobody was selling because what you kept hearing about XRP? $5.83 for some reason, $5.87, some number like that he kept coming up with. Then $10. Then you have friends calling me saying, man, what's this about XRP going to $100? And I told them, if you bought at 40 and 50, 60 cents, and it was at $3, you better take profit. Oh, I ain't taking profit. There's no way. This thing's going to $5.83, $5.87, $10. It's going to $15, $100 by the end of the year. And if you didn't, at least right now, you're still up 179%-ish. 188%. So if you bought at 50 cents, you might want to take a little profits, put it on the side, and if this drops some more. But then, if this all gets reversed, that's the game you got to play in crypto. Let's look at one more, and we'll be done. This is the great Cardano. I hold a huge bag of Cardano. So while I joke, trust me, I'm hurting. I loaded up Cardano and Atom in the last bear market in the wheelbarrow full every payday. Same thing. I wasn't going to sell because the last all-time high was around $3. So why would I sell? I was up 176% after the halving, and then it just keeps going. So if you want to call this an alt season, up 170%, maybe we missed it. Maybe we should have took profits then. And where are we at now? Now we're negative 40%. So what do you do? So, you know, whether or not you want to call some of these you know, alt season. I mean, even Ethereum is down 26% since the last halving. I don't know. I know none of this makes us all feel better now. The reason I just bring this up is because I've had at least a discussion with 5 different people alone today, either at work or people on Discord or different things like that. Like, was there ever alt season? Did we miss the alt season? Are we still going to have an alt season? And I keep saying all bets are off. It seems like even though we've had these same type of issues in the past, it just hurts us more. You know, if he mentions, if Trump mentions, um, you know, anything to do with tariffs, something happens. 2 countries don't get along, something happens. Something in the government, something happens. Like, um, another partial freeze by the government, something happens. Epstein files, something happens with crypto. Like, it just seems like anything and everything. So I don't know. I don't know. I got friends that own gold and silver, and they took a hit, and they're not used to taking hits like they just took. Do you just keep steady on? I don't know. You have to kind of reflect. And like, I got one of my boys that I'm really tight with. I actually met with him today, and he's like, what the hell am I supposed to do? I'm down a certain percent. I'm like, we can't sell at this point. But if it keeps going down, they always say don't try to catch the falling knife. But if it keeps going down, you wish you would have sold it a little bit to buy back in later. But there's no guarantee you're going to continue going down. A lot of people last week said if Bitcoin goes down, it's going to go to 75, 76,000 and bounce back. What you're kind of seeing right now. So does it just drag along at 75, 76,000, or are we going to go crash down some more? I guess it matters what's on tomorrow's news. So that's enough about that. Let's go ahead and hit some of these projects real quick. All right, we're going to quickly go down the spreadsheet. EarnApp, still by far my number one project. I'm taking out about $100 something every 2 weeks because I have a good amount of stations on. I want everybody to understand that because I had somebody join it and said, look, I ain't making close to that. I have 15 stations maybe on it, 16. Like, the good thing about EarnApp, again, I'm going to say the same thing. You can run it on Pis, with desktop Pis, with just client, computers, Macs, anything. Anything you want, you can run with EarnApp. So that's what helps, especially if they all have different external IPs. So the money gets sent to my PayPal, or you can get an Amazon card and it's straight cash. There's no crypto coins, no tokens you got to exchange, worry about going down in value or anything like that. If you're interested in EarnApp, you can get started off with a bonus. It helps the channel out by using the referral code in the description below. I know several of y'all have used it. Some of y'all are doing pretty well because I can see it. I have no idea who you are. It just says, it's starred out email address, and it tells me what y'all doing. So good luck with EarnApp. But that's by far easily my number one project. Ranked number one out of all our actual DePin projects, again, is still GeoNet for the 9th week in a row. Token prices come down a little bit because of everything going on right now, but still making $1.73 for right now for the next 3 months and 28 days-ish. What happens in 3 months and 28 days? Well, your $1.73 gets bumped down to about 85 cents, maybe somewhere around there, if my college math doesn't fail me, a day. There's a halving. Again, that's that yearly halving that Grumpy can't stand, but nobody asked me. So that's it. There's no updates at all, no announcements. I checked the Discord and the X. Nothing really going on with GeoNet. Chirp still number 2. Chirp has come down a good bit in price. I want to say like 20% in price since last week. We're now making 67 cents, which is quite sad when you figure we were making $3 and $4 a day in Chirp. It's another project that Grumpy held on to way too long when people were telling him to take profit. But I'm hard headed. I'm trying to do the long run for the project. And while people sit here and lecture me and lecture each other about you got to do what's best for the project and hold them tokens long term, this is what makes people want to dump tokens in the beginning. Because again, me making $3 and $4 a day, I'm now making 67 cents a day. What hurts the most is when I look at my total wallet of Chirp, which at one time was worth $1,000, something like that. It's now worth $100 something. So it hurts. Trust me, it hurts. Only real announcement that they got from Chirp would be this: the total cage, today cage 8. This was actually 2 days ago. Cage round 8 rewards have been distributed. Reward processing takes a bit longer now because the number of players have grown significantly. I don't know why, but again, like I've been negative enough already on this video. But I'm gonna tell you, I turn on Chirp Cage just because I have the phone available. It ain't doing nothing else, and I throw it on my dashboard and I ride around with it. So I'm getting some points, I guess, for scanning Wi-Fi and cellular. I'm not even attempting the whole beacon thing right now. I'm not paying for the extra 10 kilometers or the magnet or the boosters or, to be in the Premier League. And I'm not doing any of that no more because I've realized in Louisiana between Baton Rouge and New Orleans, there's no beacons. When I go through Baton Rouge, there's like one beacon that's always like 10 kilometers away. No matter which way you drive, it's always 10 kilometers away. So I gave up on that one. And the only one I've ever found in New Orleans was in the middle of a swamp. So, and I've been to New Orleans several times since then, driving around New Orleans, and it was always that one that was way far off outside New Orleans. So, I'm again, am I gonna sit and tell you that I am no longer running Chirp Cage? I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I still run it. Again, I just started on my phone, put it on the dashboard, and I ride around with it. So, that's Chirp Cage. Moving on, next is going to be Rover. Rover currently has a poll out. So if you're in Rover, you might want to go look at this poll. So Rover has a poll that's out right now. And it started yesterday, which is February 1st. If y'all see this on Tuesday, that means it's 2 days have gone by. You'll have, I think, 8 days left? Oh, no, not that. It's only 7 days. So 5 days left. But there's a poll that you have to go do. And basically they're asking you, they have apparently gotten enough data for highways. They're really lacking in the urban roads, off the main highways. That's what they're lacking as far as urban data demand. The urban data demand continues to rise while highway data becomes increasingly redundant, meaning everybody's on the highways. So what they do is they want to reduce the highway rewards by 30% and then increase the road rewards plus 50%. So look, I voted for it. Just because we have 2 main interstates here and everything else is going to be highways. Um, trust me, like the way it's going right now, this is going to win anyway. Like I said, I can see pluses and minuses, but again, you're also doing what's best for the project. If the demand for their customers is on the urban data side and they need more data, then you're going to have to shift rewards a little bit to help out urban data. I know some of y'all are not going to agree with it, especially some of y'all that I know are driving long term across highways. Now, I will say, if you're driving with a Tarantula, it's one thing, but for those of y'all who are driving with light cones, this might hurt a little bit. Just because I know a lot of y'all driving light cones are driving these highways. And I'd also like to know what's the differentiation between highway and urban road. It's driving through a neighborhood, I guess is an urban road where like a major US highway is a highway. I don't know. I'm curious to know how it's broken down. But again, my one vote ain't gonna go sway it either way. And you can see kind of which way it's leaning. You need to go on Rover and you need to go and vote on this. And with like all this price crashing and stuff, Rover only went down 0.001 cent. It's at 0.006. Now, you did have some people on Twitter and stuff complaining that, hey, for the longest time, Rover kind of held and was pegged at that 1 penny. And even when everything else went down, Rover stayed the same. Yeah, not so much anymore. So it does hurt. Like I've even taken some profit on my tokens. Um, I'll tell you all that story, and I'm not gonna make this video longer and tell you what I did with all that because I've told you all that before. So that's Rover. Moving on. Next is gonna be Anacord. All right, next is gonna be Anacord. Anacord has actually had pretty much a stable price, even with all this going on. 0.0152. Um, I still don't see them on CoinMarketCap, and I keep saying if they want to be legit project at this point, they've been TGE long enough. They have partners behind them. They have customers supposedly. They got all this stuff going on for them. I know it's not free, but to me, and I know it's not like the old catch-all be-all thing of like you got to be on CoinMarketCap, but to me, it's still an important step to be to make it look like it's a verified thing. Now, I also question, I'm using Deck Screener to see this. The contract matches, but I really find it hard to believe that there's only 16 transactions. I don't know what Deck Screener is exactly looking at. But for a project of this size, again, the partnerships and everything it's got going on, I just think that'd be more than this. But, this is where I'm getting the price from, and that's about it. As far as announcements for Anacord, they do have some kind of hardware suggestions that you can do if you want to give it a spin. Um, you know, if you're interested in all this, check out the Discord and go to the announcements page. All right, moving on is going to be Entropy. Entropy has also had a price decrease with all this crashing and stuff going on. It came down a little bit. So you're making you down to 27 cents per day. Your average tokens, again, this week, every week it seems that average token goes up just a tad. I'm thinking it's because you have people who are selling and their devices are then being bricked. The Jeter deleters getting them. I got some NFTs for sale. They're not really selling right now, at least at the price I have them set at. But there's no really news out of Entropy or anything like that. They're still active in the Discord. They still have some very active on Twitter and things like that. But we had a price decrease going before you had all this crashing going on. So this crashing on the crypto scene does not help. So hopefully somehow this rights itself. I have one out of my 7 devices that are offline. I can't get it back online. And be honest with you, I hate to compare it to Helium, but it's kind of like some of them other projects that when I get to it, I'll get to it. I'm probably gonna have to hook up to my computer. It's an ESP that I have to try to reprogram, and I'm not in the mood to deal with all that. So eventually I'll get it back online. Moving on. Next is going to be Nadix. So Nadix paid out today. And all right, so next is going to be Nadix. Nadix came down a tad in price, 7 cents per day. When you look at what I made, I drove all through through January, went hunting a couple of times. So that was some good mileage. Ran my nitro. I finished ranked around 300, which was probably better than 70 or top 70% or something like that. And I made 10,000 tokens, which at today's price was about $2. So by the time you split that up and you average it with 30 days, I made about 7 cents per day. A little disappointing because you started hearing that Nadix again was supposed to start giving better rewards to the camera side of this. It seems like every month they're flip-flopping. But no. Yeah, so Nadix, even though 32% sounds like a lot, which it is a lot, I'm wrong, but it still was at 0.0029. It's at 0.0020. So you 0.00020. So you're still in that 2/1000ths of a cent, kind of. Hopefully something turns around. There's no announcements, nothing going on, nothing to discuss really with Natix in their Discord. Moving on. Next is Demo. Demo basically had no price change. I'll have to give them that. You know, they were basically at this price last week, to the 100th of a penny, to be honest with you, since I did my video. Average tokens have kind of stayed about the same. So you're making about 7 cents per day. There are no announcements since the beginning of January with Demo in their announcements page when they were supposed to be starting to do some AI thing. Nothing I can tell you. Nothing in any of the social medias really that pertain to anything, at least that I could find. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about Demo anymore. Am I still running Demo? Yes, because I have people that ask me these questions, even though I basically say this every Monday. Yes, I am running Demo still while I have my subscription. I now have 11 months left on my subscription for my Demo macarons. And when that ends, I'm done with Demo. I'm not paying for subscription when I'm making 7 cents a day. There's just no way. I'd be losing money. So that is Demo. Moving on is going to be WeatherXM. WeatherXM has actually had about a 30% price decrease also. So, they're down at like 5 cents per day now. As far as announcements go, they did make an announcement about 3 days ago, that they published a deep dive into where WeatherXM stands and where they're headed. They've been in a build quietly phase is behind us. That's a good way to put that. They are entering 2026 leaner, focused on real value. So, they talk about their highlights, but they did say that they know communications has lagged behind the execution. They're fixing that this year. Builders, what support is missing from Builders XM? Station owners, how can we improve the deployment and rewards experience? Just give us more rewards. I know it's not that easy because you have tokenomics and white papers and stuff like that. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Let's see what some project updates. D1 firmware version 0.62 rolled out. New firmware version 0.6 with D1 has been deployed. So I have like a D1 sitting right here that's telling me what the temperature is and all that. And unlike another weather one, this one will actually tell me the wind's coming out the southwest and tells me if it's raining or not. You'd be surprised how apparently with another weather company, how difficult that is. So that is Weather XM. Moving on now is going to be Silencio. I really don't know what's going on with Silencio. I say it every time, like there's this fork thing. I have no idea what's going on with the noise side anymore. I have zero staking going on, so I doubt I have any raffle tickets to even pull. I got pissed off last month because I was late checking on my raffle tickets because I kept putting it off because I wanted to do a video. And then after the 20th or 21st of the month, you can't do your raffle tickets no more. I think that's absolute bullshit. And I'm sorry to use that kind of language, but I don't know how else to put that. You're getting the raffle tickets. Why is there such this deadline to claim your raffle tickets? People have made those rewards. Things in life happen. You shouldn't have 20 days, 21 days to claim your raffle tickets. Are y'all that cheap now? Because what happens to all them tokens that were supposed to be allocated for the month? I just think that's chicken crap. So Silencio has had a number of updates, and again, I'm gonna say the same thing. It seems like their whole noise pollution thing has went out the window, and they are all about the AI speaking and rewards for that. So validations are speaking up, are speeding up. So that's for the people who are doing, again, the voice thing on the computer. Hey, I've tried it. I wish I had time to do more of it. It's an easy thing to make $10, which is more than what this project has paid to me in the last 6 months. So, you know, I've told you before, do that. I have a code below to get you started, and you get a bonus to start off with the Silencio voice thing. So feel free to use it. I'm really not gonna make anything out of it because I'm not using it enough on my side. But hey, either way, it gets you a bonus to start off. So check my description below for the Silencio AI code I have to get that started. There's a new voice AI pre-qualification campaign on training AI to understand. The pre-qualification is an entry point to high reward USDC paid voice AI campaign. And again, I will say this over and over. This makes no sense to me. For you who's going to use this voice thing, you much rather be paid in USDC. But for a Silencio project, why wouldn't you pay out in your native token? Does that not seem weird to y'all? Like I said, this Silencio voice pollution thing, or the noise pollution thing, and then this voice AI thing seems to be almost two separate projects, two separate heads, completely separate entities. Why would it not pay in Silencio tokens? Again, we don't want to because the token price is doing this, and USDC is going to be stable. But again, it just makes no sense with this project. So again, it tells you how to participate and look for the options and stuff like now, and your different languages and stuff like that. Fair rewards with VAD. Since yesterday, all in-app coin tokens are calculated using voice activation detection. So what this means for you, you're rewarded only for actual spoken time. Silences, pauses, or background noise no longer count. Recording length does not equal reward. Voice quality and real speech do. So apparently, like this is the crap that makes me sick. People are going to try to game this because there's a free speaking thing where you can talk about, they give you an idea and you just speak like it's a verbal essay. And I guess the longer you spoke, the more you got paid. So these a-holes would sit here and take long pauses in between words and paragraphs to try to extend their time. Like, are you joking? I can't stand people who scam. Like, get a life. So new USDC batch incoming. This was on the 31st. Silencio raffle. And so Silencio's had a couple of different, again, all updates on the voice thing. Nothing on the noise pollution thing. I just find that weird. But let's keep on going. Next is going to be 375 AI. 375's only had a very small price reduction. They were at 16 cents when I did the video last week. They're at 15 cents now. So I was down 1 penny. So that was about a 14% price drop. There are no announcements at all of what's going on with 375 AI. I know on the Twitter side, there are some announcements of just kind of like, hey, this is what the edge stuff looks like in the snow or whatever with the weather. But as far as announcements on Discord, they have not had an announcement yet this year. Their last announcement was December 31st. Now, they could be making announcements somewhere else. I'm starting to see that kind of trend with some projects where they seem to be doing less Discord stuff and more X Twitter stuff, depending how you feel. Some people like that because some people don't like Twitter. I mean, some people don't like Discord, but yet you got people who don't like Twitter and X and all that stuff like that and don't want to mess with Twitter. So you can't make everybody happy. We all decide that we all know we all hate Telegram. So what's next? I don't know. All right, moving on. Nubla, yeah, Jesus. I tell you what, like this is giving me a headache. You might as well just just separate these bottom three trash hoes. And I used to have a fighting for last place section. Maybe I need to bring that back again. Or projects are possibly dead, whatever. Because like there are projects like 375 AI and Silencio that, despite what I say about them, WeatherXM, all these are 5 cents right now. I still have somewhat faith in those projects. You're not gonna get rich. You're not gonna get gas money. But the project itself, 375 AI is just getting started with all the edge stuff. If that all comes to fruition, WeatherXM, you just saw that they have a bunch of stuff going on. Silencio has this voice AI thing that seems to be very popular with paying customers. We know that. So we can put those three in that category, where Nubla, nobody knows what the hell is going on with that. Even your certain places that were selling their devices, like Helium Deploy. Moken had a live on with what's his name the other day, and they even talked about Nubla's probably dead. Helium been dead. We're down at 2 cents. Helium is sub $1 for the first time in how long? Like, that's just unbelievable. Where some tokens have started to come up today, Helium dropped below $1 and has stayed below $1 all weekend. Grass starts another epoch. And as far as Nuba is going, they came out with an announcement 2 or 3 days ago, and this project's been attacked by all fronts on the Discord, X, everywhere. That nobody knows what the shit's going on with it. The dashboards, we can't even find our weather stations. Sometimes our nodes don't show up. Nodes ain't running. We're not getting rewards for any of it. There seems like all they've been talking about is this, the VE better, whatever it is, rewards and stuff. People still want to know what's going on with that. So these are the announcements as far as that. Nothing to do with the actual project of Nubla. There's been no word. You have a bot that is clearly a bot every day posting something about the weather, like clouds are fluffy or something on their X. And some of us have taken the time to call out Nubla on their X, because you have all these people that answer saying like, Nubla is so great. No, they're not. Those must be bots also. So several people have called them out on their X post, definitely called them out in their general page, and they have not discussed any of it. This is the one guy who has responded over and over, but VE Chain supposedly has made changes to the API, and as a result, their current EVM sync module is temporarily unavailable to sync the on-chain data that they rely on. So it's not their fault. It's Vet's fault, VE Better's fault, whatever. Pause does not mean you lose entitlement. Missed rewards will still be honored. Yeah, I'm sure everybody's holding their breath on that. Mining, traffic, settlement flows, what's not affected, action plans will still begin next week. But my point is, this is the only announcement that they've had. They're getting lit up everywhere. Social media, other discords, whatever like that, other lives on YouTube, other videos, like, and they're not doing anything to answer it. I mean, you still got people saying that their nodes ain't showing up. So I don't know how much longer I'm a even. Part of me doesn't want to discuss Nubla anymore, but I don't want people saying, "Oh, well, you talked about their project and they bought nodes and stuff." Look, I bought a node too. I'm out of $300 for a device that I can't even get online, and I'm not getting rewards for it. My dashboard's empty. So trust me, I'm there with the rest of y'all. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna even keep discussing it, because part of me does not want to give them any discussions at all where people see it and think this project has any kind of legs to keep going. I don't know. I don't know. The fact that they can't even discuss it while they're getting attacked in their own Discord is just, where's everybody? Where's the founders at? Where's the team at? Are they still doxxed? We went looked the other day on my live, and the page on Nubla's website that had the team with the 6 people on it, we couldn't even find it anymore. Now, it might be back today, but I'm telling you, last week on my live, we went to Nubla's website and could not find the team anymore. That's scary. So Helium, like I said, Helium came down in price a little bit, 12%, which don't sound like a lot, but hey, it was $1.10, and now it's at 96, 95, 96, 97 cents. So, of course, there's absolutely no news on Helium. Grass, I took a blood pressure pill right before I started this live, so therefore it won't get me over too bad. But guess what? Epoch 16 started. Who didn't see that coming? So, this project continues to go down in price. Nobody thinks it's a big deal about it. Everybody's a cheerleader. Everybody loves this project, and everybody thinks they're going to be a gazillionaire when this project gives rewards out. Me, Mr. Conspiracy Theory, still thinks that the reason that they also are pushing this back as long as possible is I think that when people see their rewards, they're going to lose their shit. And again, I hate to curse, but I don't know how else. That's me putting it the nice way. Now, what's going to happen? Y'all remember when Grumpy says this? This is February 2nd at 11:19 p.m. Central Time, where I'm going to tell y'all what's going to happen. You now have rewards that we have an epoch that started, stage 2 started October 14th, 2024. That's how long we've been in this thing for. We are now in 2026. So you have right now, you got 14, 15 months of this, okay? And I think what's going to happen is you're going to have some simple-minded people, and I don't mean no disrespect for that. For some people, $10 is a lot of money. And I'm not being sarcastic. I'm trying to say is that, some people that are running this project in some countries, this is going to be good money. I don't take that away from them, and God bless them. I hope they get whatever they want. I'm being dead serious when I tell you that. I don't want to make it sound like greed, but what I'm saying is when you compare this with other projects, you can have some people who get such a bulk amount of money, they're going to think grass is the greatest. Because they're not going to sit there and look like Grumpy does when I do all those things, those like Nadix, where I take Nadix that gives me a 30-day reward, or Silencio that gives me a 30-day reward, and then I go and divide that up by 30. Demo gives me rewards every 7 days, and then I divide that up by 7 days. You're not going to have somebody who's going to sit here, and if you're looking at 15 months, are they going to sit here and take their reward and divide it by 5,475 days? No. Now, some of y'all are, because some of y'all are smart, like me, to figure that out. But I think what happens is grass knows when this happens. I don't care if this thing's running in the background or not. We're all going to be yanking our Ethernet cords out the freaking wall. Now, could Grumpy be wrong? Yes. But I've already been wrong once or twice this year, so I'm good now. Because y'all remember Grumpy's rules of crypto. Rule number 1. And you hate to be a cocky a-hole, but what happens is, like a lot of other things, is I'm using logic here. People use their heart or their feelings and don't want to see reality. And because I do use those 3 things, or whatever it was, people think I'm grumpy, but I'm not. It's just that you're being real. You're being realistic. There's a reason why this project will not pay us for 15 months of work. They're trying to stall it till they get this goofy miner ready, because they're hoping they can sell it before a whole bunch of people bail on it. They're hoping they can sell that device. What else is it going to be? They're creating a wallet as if Solana doesn't have enough wallets. They want to create an in-app wallet. Can somebody in this video, because there'll be somebody here who wants to defend this project. So step up. Step up and tell me why we need to wait 15 months to be rewarded for this project. Because if you don't think they're selling our data in between that and they're making the money, you're a fool. 6 months ago, they had this big announcement about how much more money they got off of some fundraising thing or something like that. Where did that go? Did they use that for their miners? And then now they're going to sell their miners and make the money off of that? Why do you need miners? They're bragging that they got 2 million with an M, 2.6, 2.4, depending on who wants to argue on Discord, 2.4 to 2.6 million users, not devices online, because you got people like me who's got 6 or 7 devices. 2.6 million people supposedly running this project. That is only 40,000 though in Discord, but they're going to try to tell you that, oh, well, 2.56 million people might not be able to run Discord in their country. Are you shitting me? When's the last time you heard anything official from Grass? Has anybody? So here you go. Epoch 16 started. What you can look forward to in Epoch 16? Scaling LCR, strengthening Grass's leadership in multimodal data, whatever the hell that means. Introduction of the Grass native wallet. Why? Why? Are they leaving Solana? Like, why do they need a native wallet? It's just an excuse to keep going. Airdrop framework for stage 2. Supposedly that was discussed in the last AMA, but let's keep going. Don't forget, points still accumulate. So when was the last announcement before that? Oh, it was when we went into Epoch 15 at the beginning of the year. Scaling, improving end to end, strengthening Grass's leadership in strengthening Grass's leadership in multimodal data. Strengthening Grass's leadership. Are we still looking forward to the same thing? Here it is. December 15th, Grass has completed 250,000 in open market purchase of Grass. Really? Yeah, this is. I'll tell you what, though. I'll tell you what. In reading this, first of all, the cheerleaders alone make me like. I guess it's just the people I'm talking about that are happy to get whatever they get out of this, because the fact that they can just be so positive towards a project that can't pay out within 14 months, 15 months, 16 months, because we're going on 16, 17 months. Because yeah, people even arguing in here, this is the last epoch. Where did you see that from? This is just, again, schoolyard rumor, because you got so many people saying now it's going to be the first half of 2026. You know, it's, then I heard earlier that on X, they talked about it getting moved back even further again. People keep asking me, how many epochs will be, like, nobody wants to answer this question. These people are just sitting here and attacking that are in this project, attacking it over and over, saying, well, you know, we're not going to have it till 2027. You think that's positive for this project? But guess, but you see what I'm talking about? How I know I say the same thing every week about this project, but it's just like, it's craziness. It's madness. It's madness that we still get tugged by it. And again, there's no fact to back it up, but you see people on X and on Discord talking about how you're not going to have the rewards we had last time. But maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Like, if I keep my conspiracy hat on, maybe that's what it is. Is that I've told you before that you're not going to have the rewards you had, because last time we had all these epochs plus all these testnet epochs, and you made this certain amount of money. And some people were not happy with that at all. So now you're going to have just epochs with no testnet, no bonuses. But I guess if you keep adding epochs, it's going to balance out. But you also have way more people now mining this project than you did when the last rewards. I think rewards are going to be bad. I think people are going to be pissed. It's going to be get my alcohol and my pizza out and just popcorn out and just watch the fireworks. And I think Grass knows that, but I don't know. I could be wrong. Could be wrong. Okay, I had enough of that. My blood pressure medicine's working overtime on that one. Wingbits. Wingbits had a cool little announcement. That they have started. Introducing aircraft near misses using TCA as data, which is traffic collision avoidance system. Wingbits just released a new feature that lets you see and replay real craft near miss events based on TCA as data. This is actually pretty cool. It's scary as hell, but it's actually pretty damn cool. So we're going to take a look at that. And what happens is, on this website, you can sit here and find all the near misses. So it has this little play button up here, and you can play it. And you know, it'll tell you what the track was. So this is a plane taking off. And apparently must have had a low altitude, you know, almost hit a mountain type thing, because it comes right here and it says clear of conflict. So something must have happened. Or maybe it was headed to something. That's why it veer off. I don't know. Let's take a look at a different one. Let's see if we can find something a little more exciting. Well, this might be good. All right, so we're gonna press play, and we got two planes that take off at the same time, and ooh, I hate to laugh because this is horrible, but like you hear about this stuff in the news, right? You hear about this stuff in the news, but you don't want to see really how. Look, these are all February 3rd. Holy hell! Head to head, like this can't be great. Is that crazy or what? 30,000, 31,000. That's 1,000 feet. Jeez, Pete. Here's some California. I think this is wine country, close to it. Let's see what happens with this one. Look, I'm not a traffic pilot, engineer, whatever you want to call it, traffic coordinator, but what the hell is going on here? Like, they look like they're mating. This is crazy. Like, I don't want to fly anymore. Jesus Christ, in the motorbike. I can't watch no more of that. So another cool feature that Wingbets now has on its map is you can see what they call dashboard view or cockpit view or something like that. So I can sit here and let's see, we'll click the plane coming into New Orleans. And actually it shows its whole previous track going all over the country. But let me move my fat head out the way. So yes, it's going from LAX to MSY, Moisant, which is New Orleans International Airport. And if you click cockpit, it actually shows you the airspeed, altitude, heading, flight profile. I guess it's over a certain amount of time. Yeah, look, that's the time. But that's cool. Now, what I wanted to see was, I wanted to see if it shows anything for helicopters. Sure does. And it shows the technical side of everything. So that's some cool stuff with Wingbits. So we're patiently awaiting Wingbits as far as TGE, but they give us these new toys to kind of play with. TGE is supposed to be coming in quarter 1. But like I was trying to say earlier, without my blood pressure going up anymore, is Wingbits is in this funky thing right now. Because again, go back to Grumpy's rule number 1. I told you so. I'm gonna call this. Y'all gonna think I went in time and copied this down on my steno pad and came back. What's about to happen with Wingbits? People are pushing for Wingbits to go TGE. Now, Wingbits has said in the last AMA, I did a video on the last AMA about token TGE and all stuff like that. And they basically said, look, we know everybody's kind of getting impatient. They've had enough waiting. We know we can't push this back any further. So we got to go TGE sometime in quarter 1, which is another month left, or 2 months left, end of March. But like I was saying earlier, if they would have went to TGE Friday, what would have happened over the weekend? Solana took a huge dump. So Solana tokens took a huge dump, right? So Wingbits would have did this, like the planes we just saw. And what everybody said, Wingbits sucks. Wingbits was a rug pull. Wingbits did this. They should have waited on TGE. They shouldn't have rushed it, anything like that. But if they don't go TGE and try to move it back because the market is horrible, everybody's gonna say we knew Wingbits was lying. Wingbits didn't like. We knew that they weren't being serious. We knew that they couldn't hold that date. Blah blah blah, and they're gonna attack it. So they're screwed either way. They're effed basically either way, right? And I don't. I'm glad I'm not the one that has to make this decision. Now they have said in the past that it's not really market conditions that are holding back their their mainnet because they're basically just wanted to make sure they had enough income coming in that they could help, do the buybacks and stuff like that. We also know in the last AMA, again, not to rehash all this stuff, but it's on video if you want to go back and watch it. But they've also said how we they have written a lot of people had signed 1-year contracts. Those contracts are now coming up for renewal, and those people now want to sign multi-year contracts. But because there's more data and more locations available, that Wingbits can charge a more premium price. So that income will be coming in. It should help with all that. But as we've seen with some other projects that we know are doing that, you can only help that token so much. If the overall crypto market is taking a crap and people aren't buying and investing into crypto, there's only so much you can do. That's what I'm worried about with Wingbits. You can only do it TGE and mainnet one time, and that's it. All right, moving on. 4D Sky. So 4D Sky had their big update. They officially migrated from the old Explorer that they were using to 4D Sky. So you have a whole new Explorer that you can go look at now. You don't have that other brand name Explorer, whatever it was, and it's different. Um, you know, a lot of it's gonna be background type of stuff like that, but they're gonna have when you first sign into 4D Sky, you're gonna have to use the same email as your old Explorer. Make sure you do that. And then it's gonna automatically import your previous station. So that will come in. Also, to give migration update. If you had an account to use migration and do sense enrollment. So you can go read about this if you want. But their big thing is they are now migrated over from their that beta dashboard thing that they were using through Neuron or whatever it was, Neuron Explorer, and they're now in app.4dsky.com. Now, one thing and I don't want to show you all this because it has my public key and all that, but one thing on the dashboard, when I go to points, I'm still showed 0. However, it does say my last timestamp heartbeat was at 11:40, which was 1 minute ago. Yes, it's 11:40 p.m. I'm doing this video. I still have to edit it. But it says it's normal for your balance to show 0 while your points are being enabled. You don't need to take any action. Points are rolling out. Points will start appearing here soon. So I'm not gonna, panic just yet. I'm gonna keep an eye on all this and see what happens. But yes, the new 4D Sky dashboard is now working. Next is Mass Chain. Mass Chain also had a new update, also pretty big update. They have now said the migration to Peak, the new token model, is now complete. A lot of people are not happy with this, including myself. I don't know why they went with Peak. They're going to sit there and try to say, we went with Peak because Peak can do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And they can offer this, and this is so fast. Well, because nobody else is on Peak. And nobody else is doing all that. Peak is telling you they can do all that. But, that's one thing about this project. They don't really listen to what other people have to say. For a project that is new to crypto, they know. And I hate to sound like a parent and a dad, but it's like, okay, man, go ahead then. If you think go ahead. But some of this is serious. And while I was very high on Peak a while back, and I even owned some of the token, name one serious project on Peak. Silencio's not even giving out their own token on their project anymore. At least the voice AI side. You don't think there's something wrong with that? Combiner said they were going to Peak. They have 0 movement in months. In Mass Chain, like, and we didn't want to go to Solana because Solana has, they said that. Really, how often does that happen? How often does Solana has, everybody's like, oh, that's just the token for scan whatever, because it has cheap transactions and they can handle majority of the time, majority of the transactions, the amount of transactions. With at one point it was like 20 or 30,000 meme tokens made a day on Solana. It's tried and true. Every now and then you have a hiccup in it. And how long does it stay shut down for? Not long. But you go on a peak that is completely unproven. Man, come on. Anyway, I talk to neighbor about this project. You'd be surprised that I'm supported. But I just added my second station into Baton Rouge online. I went in the freezing cold and got it set up. And now I'm having issues with it. For some reason, it says it's online. It can see the SDR, but my ships ain't coming in. I haven't really had a chance to mess with it. I don't want to go drive all the way to Baton Rouge if I don't have to, but it is what it is. I did do a video last week on adding, if you have a Wingbits DIY device, you would like to add a device SDR for Mass Chain, how to serialize it so you can run Mass Chain and Wingbits with two different SDRs on the same Pi. Check out that video if you want. So they have this dashboard up there that you can see your hexes. So like I said, you can see these are strictly my tokens since this merger or whatever, or since moved the migration. Because I've been running this for a while now. You can see where it says my main station's online. My Baton Rouge station did not contain any AIS messages. However, when you go to the dashboard for that station, it shows messages coming in. Again, I haven't had a chance to really dig into it that much. When I go to my station, you can see the hex map, and it shows you the amount of hexes that I am covering. They got this bond thing that you can go read about it, but you have to bond your tokens. This is part of that thing that they started. I don't know how I feel about it, but apparently the first two people that bond for a hex coverage hex will get. And I'm assuming it's coverage area. Or is it stationary? Like I said, I have to go and read more about this. Maybe we'll talk about tomorrow in my tonight in my live when y'all see this video. But I don't know if it gives me all these hexes or if it's just where my station is. But yeah, you have to bond. You and whoever else is the second person to bond, you'll get 100%. And then when people come on board later, they don't get 100%. I believe that's how they end up doing it. So y'all can go take a look at that. All right. Hit the rest of these. Brusho, don't really know anything going on with that. Don't really see too much in the Telegram. And again, if it is, I probably can't find it. I can't stand Telegram. I know I said it every week, but I just want y'all to understand something. I hate Telegram. I hate that I have to go through all these threads of like a text message. Can you imagine going through a text message that gets texted, a thread that gets texted 30 times a day and trying to go back for a week to see what the updates are like? That's why Discord's so much easier. But whatever. CapturGO. CapturGo's got a couple of things. They got the V2 launch update, and biggest update is coming. Is almost here. That we've been hearing that this V2 update's coming for a while now. But hey, if you migrate your account V2 is out, you'll not be able to log in till V2 whatever. But they have this V2 CapturGO V2. The V2 release date should be February 4th, so that should be Wednesday. Yes, not midnight yet. So Wednesday. So that is CapturGO. So V2 is going to be their big thing. Commander, that Telegram is a hot mess right now. At least it's finally active. For the longest time, we had nothing on it. And they went from not having anything for like 2 months to all of a sudden it is being blitzed with all kinds of goofiness. Meaning all these ideas they have about NFTs and tokenomics, and they're sticking with peak, asking for some people's advice. it's wild right now. There's a whole bunch of stuff. At least they're being active. I think it's becoming extremely overcomplicated for what the project is. It's plugs that monitor electricity usage and eventually green energy and stuff like that. When you read this, it's crazy. It's wild. It's got, I don't know. It's got either way. Look, I'm happy to see Combiner finally, you know, all these projects. Brusho, CapturGO, and Combiner for a while was being very mute. You didn't hear anything going on with them. So basically, all of our testnet projects right now have some positivity going, and you're seeing movement. Wingbits with the map, 4D Sky with their new dashboard and new Explorer, Mass Chain with their migration. You know, Brusho, CapturGO, and Combiner all got movement going. So hey, that's positives. So, whew, for a short Monday video, I threw that out. But you know, what's new? What's new? So look, I appreciate everybody who's followed along this far. And you know, I'm sorry I can't put chapters in it because sometimes these things, if it's really short and I skip over it, there's not, you have to have so many seconds between chapters for it to work right. And I know some of these projects I don't. So I'm going to shut up. We're going to discuss more of this tonight in our Tuesday live, 7 p.m. Central Time. Check out the live section on my YouTube. You'll see where the invitation is, and you can hang out with us. Sometimes we talk for 45 minutes, 30, 45 minutes. The other night we talked for 3 hours. Hey, come in, chit chat with us for a while, and you can back out. There's no big deal. As long as most people keep talking and keep asking questions and we keep throwing things at each other, not, you know, just figuratively, you know, not actually, more like throwing ideas and what we think about certain projects. But hey, as long as everybody's being active, I'll stick around in there for a while. It is what it is. So appreciate all the support. Again, hit the like button, and we'll see you in the next video.